Introduction to Bhagavatam. The concept of God and the concept of absolute truth are not on the same levels. The Srimad Bhagavatam hits on the target of the absolute truth. The conception of God indicates the controller, whereas the concept of the absolute truth indicates the sum bonum, or the ultimate source of all energy. There is no difference of opinion about the personal features of God as a controller, because a controller cannot be impersonal. Of course, modern government, especially democratic government, is impersonal to some extent. But ultimately, the chief executive head is a person, and the impersonal features of government is subordinated to the personal features. So, whatever a doubt, whenever we refer to control over others, we must admit the existence of a personal feature. Because there are different controllers for different managerial positions, there may be many small gods. According to the Bhagavad Gita, many controllers who have some specific extraordinary power is called a Vibhuti-mat Sattva, or controller empowered by the Lord. There are many Vibhuti-mat Sattva, controllers or gods with various specific powers, but the absolute truth is one without a second. This Srimad Bhagavatam describes the absolute truth on the Sampurnam as the Param Satyam. The author of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Vyasadeva, first offered his respectful obeisances unto the Param Satyam, absolute truth, and because the Param Satyam is the ultimate source of all energy, the Param Satyam is the Supreme Person. The gods and the controllers are undoubtedly persons, but the Param Satyam, from whom the gods derived powers of control, is a Supreme Person. The Sanskrit word Ishvara, controller, conveys the import of God, but the Supreme Person is called the Parameshvara, or the Supreme Ishvara. The Supreme Person, or Parameshvara, is the Supreme Conscious Personality, and because he does not derive any power from any other source, he is supremely independent. In the Vedic literature, Brahma is described as the supreme god, or the head of all other gods like Indra, Chandra, and Varuna. But the Srimad Bhagavatam confirms that even Brahma is not independent as far as his power and knowledge are concerned. He receives knowledge in the form of the Vedas from the Supreme Person who resides within the heart of every living being. That Supreme Personality knows everything directly and indirectly. Individual infinities person who are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality may know directly and indirectly everything about their bodies or external features, but the Supreme Personality knows everything about both the external and the internal features. The word Janmayat Asya suggests that the source of all the production, maintenance, and distribution in the same Supreme Conscious Person. Even in our present experiences, we can know that nothing is generated from inert matter, but inert matter can be generated from the living entity. For instance, by contact with the living entity, the material body develops into a working machine. Men with a poor fount of knowledge mistakes the bodily machine to be a living being, but the fact is that the living being is the basis of the bodily machine. The bodily machine is useless as soon as the living spark is away from it. Similarly, the original source of all material energy is the Supreme Person. This fact is expressed in the Vedic literature, and all the exponents of spiritual science have accepted this truth. The living force is called Brahman, and one of the greatest Acharya teachers, namely Sri Pada Sankaracharya, has preached that Brahma is substance, whereas the cosmic world is category. The original source of all energy is the living force, and he is logically accepted as the supreme person. He is therefore conscious of everything past, present, and future, and also of each and every corner of his manifestation, both material and spiritual. An imperfect living being does not even know what is happening within his own personal body. He eats his food and does not know how his food is transformed into energy and how it sustains his body. When the living being is perfect, he is aware of everything that happens. And since the Supreme Person is all perfect, it is quite natural that he knows everything in all details. Consequently, the perfect personality is addressed in the Srimad Bhagavatam as Vyasadeva, or one of the lives everywhere in future consciousness, and is full possessed of his complete energy. All of this is clearly explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the readers are ample opportunity to study their critically. Study this critically. In the modern age, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preaches the Srimad Bhagavatam by practicing demonstration. It is easy to penetrate into the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam through the media of Sri Chaitanya's causeless mercy. Therefore, such sketches of his life and preaching is recited herein to help the readers understand the real merit of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is imperative that one learns the Srimad Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavatam. The person Bhagavatam is one whose very life is Srimad Bhagavatam in preaching. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the absolute personality of Godhead. He is both Bhagavan and Bhagavatam in person and in sound. Therefore, his process is approaching the Srimad Bhagavatam is practical for all people of the world. In this, it has his wish that the Srimad Bhagavatam be preached in every nook and corner of the world by those who happened to take their birth in India. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead, of whom we have preliminary information from the text of the Bhagavad Gita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that anyone, regardless of what he is, who is well versed in the science of Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita, and become an authorized preacher or prospector in the science of Krishna. There is a need for the science of Krishna in human society for the good of all the suffering humanity of the world, and we simply request the leaders of all nations to pick up the science of Krishna for their own good, for the good of the society, and for the good of all the world's people. Thank you.